So you've seen those insane numbers in DeFi, right? And you've got to wonder, is this actually free money? Or is it some kind of elaborate trap? Well, in this explainer, we're going to dig in and find out. You've seen it everywhere, the promise of decentralized finance, or DeFi. And it looks so simple, almost too easy. You just take your crypto, and with a couple of clicks, you deposit it. And what you get back is a number, a huge flashing number, an APY that's so high it almost feels fake. It's a return that just seems to break all the rules of normal finance. But that brings up a really simple but absolutely critical question. If you didn't sell anything, and you didn't really trade anything, where is this money actually coming from? Who is paying you? Okay, before we get into the weeds, just a quick heads up. This explainer on the Blocks Bonds Funds channel is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not financial or investment advice. All right, let's pull back the curtain on these incredible returns. The whole game is usually called yield farming, and understanding what that actually means is the very first step. Put simply, it's all about making your crypto work for you to earn more crypto. You're not just letting it sit there, you're actively plugging it into the DeFi ecosystem to get a return. Now, the process looks super straightforward on the surface. You deposit your tokens into something called a liquidity pool, which is really just a big pot of crypto that other people can trade against. And for providing that service, you earn rewards. Simple, right? Your assets are now part of the market's plumbing. So here is the most crucial part of this whole puzzle. Where are these rewards coming from? Because it turns out every reward has a source, and they really come from two very, very different engines. And this is where it gets really interesting. Your yield is basically a mix of two things. On one side, you have real yield. This comes from actual economic activity, like traders paying fees to use the liquidity you provided. But on the other side, you have incentivized yield. This is where the protocol literally just prints its own tokens and hands them to you as a reward. Think of it this way. One is yield from usage, the other is yield from inflation. Now that incentivized yield can create this really powerful and sometimes kind of dangerous feedback loop. See, the protocol prints tokens to offer high yields, which attracts a ton of money. All that money inflates the protocol's total value locked, or TVL, making it look huge and successful. That high TVL helps prop up the token's price, which then justifies printing even more tokens as rewards. It's a cycle that can fuel insane growth, but the whole thing is built on a foundation of pure inflation. And that brings us to the other side of the coin. Because every reward carries a risk. And in DeFi, some of these risks are hiding in plain sight. Returns this high are never free. I know, this sounds totally bonkers, right? How on earth can you be earning a high yield but somehow end up with less money than you started with? Well, this is a core risk for anyone providing liquidity. It's called impermanent loss. And let me tell you, despite the name, it can feel very, very permanent. It's basically the opportunity cost you pay for putting your assets in the pool. When the prices of the tokens you deposited move apart, the pool's algorithm rebalances your funds. And what that means is you end up with more of the token that went down in value and less of the one that went up. And just look at this table. This is where the danger of impermanent loss really sinks in. If one of your tokens just doubles in price, you're already down nearly 6% compared to if you had just held on to it. And if that token does a 5x, your position is now worth over 25% less than if you had done nothing. Your yield has to work overtime just to make up for that loss. And on top of market risk, you've got code risk. The smart contracts that run everything in DeFi can have bugs or exploits. And as you can see, these have led to billions with a B of dollars just vanishing. In this world, code risk is absolutely financial risk. Now, to chase even crazier returns, some people use leverage. They'll deposit an asset, borrow against it, take those borrowed funds and deposit them again, and just repeat that process over and over. This recursive loop can juice their yield, but it also multiplies their risk exponentially, Just one small price move can trigger a total wipeout, making the whole system that much more fragile. So when you start putting all these pieces together, the real yield, the inflated yield, the impermanent loss, the code risk, the true picture starts to emerge. What you're really looking at isn't a magic money machine, it's a system of redistribution. See, yield isn't just created out of thin air. It's a flow of value. Traders pay fees, and that money flows to liquidity providers. Protocols print new tokens, and that value also flows to liquidity providers. But for the whole thing to work, the system needs a constant fire hose of new money coming in to buy up all those newly printed tokens and keep the price from crashing. And this right here brings us to the fundamental truth of all DeFi yield. It's not magic. It is a massive redistribution of value from traders, from the protocol's own inflation, and even from other liquidity providers who get hit with impermanent loss. Someone always pays. So the next time you see one of those ridiculously high APYs, just remember what we talked about here. Ask yourself, who is really paying for this yield? And what are the hidden costs? Because in DeFi, just like everywhere else in life, free money is never, ever free.